Welcome to the Leadership Library podcast. I'm your host, Rocky Romanella, and I'm very excited because today is our first episode with the new format. Remember what we said, the new format is we're covering two topics in season 9. This topic is team building, so important and what's going on around us. We're going to have a subject matter expert, a SME, as they say in the industry, and today's subject matter expert is a coach, which obviously in team building is such an important part of it. Before I introduce our coach and our SME, our subject matter expert, the one thing I do want to make sure everybody understands is I know we talk a lot about business concepts and obviously, most of these people believe these are all business. But these are all concepts that are important to us in our daily lives. Building a team, for example, whether you're a Little League coach helping out, you're doing other things, you're on the PTA, Girl Scout, Boy Scouts, whatever you're doing, team building is so important. That ability to get people to do things they never thought they could do before through motivation and doing it together. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you our subject matter and expert, Coach Andrew Romanella. Coach Romanella, you want to introduce yourself to the Leadership Library family?
Well, thank you for that introduction. Leadership Library family, I'm very honored to be physically on the podcast today. I usually spend most of my time behind the microphone and the dials, but today, a topic, Rocky, that I am very fond of, building teams, and I am just appreciative that you look to me as somebody you would talk to about this topic. So I'm excited. Let's get going.
All right, let's talk a little bit about it. So what is team building? So building a team is the act of improving and maximizing a group of people who collaborate or work together to achieve a common goal. So let's think about that for a second. Whether you're, in a family, whether you're on a baseball field, whether you're in business, it's people working together. It's people collaborating. Secondly, a team implies synergy. That is, the whole is greater than the sum of their parts. And the essence of a team is a common commitment. I think that's so important, is that word commitment, because without it, the members are simply a group of individuals. Now, I will say one thing here, and I'll ask Coach Romanella, or what everyone calls him, Coach Romo. I'll ask Coach Romo a little bit about this in 1 second, but this whole concept of the beauty of a great team is everybody gets to have their individuality, but work together as a team. Coach, what do you think of that?
I love that. We actually tell our players that when we're talking about our team concept, everything we do is designed around a team concept, but inside an individual build. So who are you as an individual, and how does that fit inside of our team concept? Because for us, and it's the sport of baseball, but as you said on your intro, the team building aspect is important for majority, if not all, things that people are engaging in to try and make a situation better, whether it's the Girl Scouts, the PTA, the baseball program, the business, right? And so for us, to your point, we really believe in the individual. Who are you? And how can you as the individual now make our entire team better? And to finish, that usually we feel makes our players and our staff feel really powerful about their role in our program, and also feel very individualistic, which is important because you feel like you're yourself inside the team model. And it usually, at least from our knowledge or our vantage point, seems to have worked with the students. And our team building is derived on those two things. Who are you as an individual, and how do you fit into our concepts?
I think that's fantastic. And for me personally, as all of you know, I had a 36-year career at UPS, ran a company post UPS, and now do some consulting and training. But I learned this concept that Coach Rome was talking about in this whole concept of team building, commitment, and understanding people as individuals when I had the opportunity to work with the UPS store. And think about that, over 5,000 independent business owners, right? Think about that. You want them to be an individual. You want them to have that entrepreneurial spirit within the confines of a franchise network. It works. When it works, it's magic, because what happens is you walk in a UPS store in Portland, Oregon, you walk in a UPS store in Portland, Maine, you get the same feel because everyone's following, that franchise's concept. However, you have that individual store owner. So
That's
I think
that uniformity, right?
Pardon me?
It's the uniformity that you're looking for, so that you show up to UPS in Seattle or you show up in Minnesota and you feel like it's the same store.
Absolutely. However, you still got that energy, enthusiasm of the entrepreneur, the same way you have the energy, enthusiasm of that player.
That's awesome.
And I think that's the key thing that you're trying to do when you're looking forward to how am I going to build my team? Who are the players, right? So, a question for you then. That would probably be a part of the whole recruiting process, right? When you're thinking about that.
Absolutely. Honestly, I sometimes tell the players that they're recruiting me as much as I'm recruiting them, because I feel like that has to match up on both sides. Because as an employee too, right? You don't want to work for a business that doesn't line up with your morals and values, because then you don't really feel like you can thrive inside of that. So the whole recruiting process, Rocky, is essentially vetting each other. I'm vetting the players and their parents to make sure that they fit into our mold of what we believe in for a team and an organization. But I think they should also be vetting me as their leader and saying, do I want to play for this team and this organization?
Yeah,
Do I
that's
even
right.
believe in these morals and values? So to be honest with you, I think the recruiting process has to be majority about that, because really, what good is talent if they don't fit to your team?
I think that's a great point. And on the business side, I think sometimes we lose sight of that. For example, inside an organization, right? You're recruiting for an open position inside and outside the organization. And then the best player wins at that particular time. But you should be recruiting inside an organization, understanding the people, know who's ready now. We talked a little bit about that whole succession planning. We talked a little bit about bench strength inside an organization. But the individual should be kind of recruiting us as well. Is this the company I want to work for? Do I feel like I belong here? I've often said I worked at UPS for 36 years. I didn't agree with everything that happened. I didn't disagree enough to leave. And I think the last point here before we wrap up is, in today's world, I just read a statistic that says that, 23% of employees are engaged, which means the rest are not engaged.
Wow.
And this is globally. 51% of employees are coming to work looking for their next job. So think about that. So how do you get them engaged? You get them engaged by them feeling like they're part of something. They're part of something special. They're part of a team. And I think that that's so important. Before we wrap up, any last thoughts on this first step in building your team, the recruiting side of it, and them allowing them to be individuals?
The only other thing I would add is just to remember that, to your point on the statistics of who's looking for a new job when they go to another job or who's not satisfied, make sure that there is enjoyment to your employees or your team members or your baseball players, or insert team here. But I think the one thing I'd like to leave with before I go is just the remembrance of, yes, the jobs are important, and the wins are important, and the sale is important. It's all important. But if your employees are not enjoying being a part of that team, they're not happy showing up to work every day, it doesn't matter how good or bad you think your processes are. It ain't going to be good because they're unhappy doing it. So just, always remember, fun is the word we use. That's not the word you can use in a lot of Fortune 500 companies. You can use that word in the baseball world, but it could be something like that, where you just want to make sure your people are showing up with a smile on their face. So if there's anything you do, just at least try and be a boss that people are enjoying going to work for, even when you have to hold people accountable. Outside of that, Rocky, thank you for this platform. I really appreciate this.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to tell you, I'll leave you with this last statistic on that list of statistics. I didn't go through them all. Top performing organizations, they average 70% of their people are engaged. They're engaged because they want to be there. So our jobs as leaders is to allow our people to be individuals, but work within the confines of an organization, work within the confines of the goals, and also to be engaged, to feel like they're not part of the problem, they're part of the solution. Until we meet again, be safe. And thank you for following us here on the Leadership Library podcast.